Good morning. Call the Wednesday morning, July 10th meeting of the Criminal Justice Committee to order. Start with roll call, please.
Mr. Hess?
Present.
Mr. Long?
Present.
Mr. Carrico?
Present.
Mr. Eckhoff?
Present.
Mr. Hunter?
Present.
Ms. Turner? Ms. Monday?
Present.
Ms. Andrade? Ms. Armour Earps? Ms. Rittman-Akemi? Mr. Marion?
Here.
Mr. Lowry?
Present.
Mr. Wheeler? Mr. Alexander Hildebrand?
Present.
We have a quorum.
Take a motion to allow Mr. Hunter and Miss Monday in for the Zoom. Mr. Eckhoff, second by Mr. Carrico. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I have no public comment in front of me. Is there any public comment at this time? Any public comment? Up next, the approval of minutes from June 12th, 2024, 10 years ago. Take a motion to approve. Miss Emming and Miss Turner, or Miss Earps. Wow. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I have a new pair of glasses and I'm trying to get it. So if I miss somebody, I'm sorry. Nothing from the chief judge today. He's not here. Up next, Sandy Cianci from the circuit clerk's office. Take a motion to approve her report by Mr. Lowry, second by Mr. Long. Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning. I have nothing special for my reports if anybody has any questions.
Any questions on the
about
report?
those.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. What else?
So what else? The computer, Tyler Technology representatives are here this week, and we're beginning training a few select people with just training and how it works, how the process works. And from what we heard yesterday from both of the representatives, that this is going very well and very smoothly, and that they are impressed with the fact that our people that were assigned to do these duties are happy to do them, and they are doing them. Evidently they don't get as much of a welcome as what we've given them, so we're pretty happy with that.
Good.
So they're here through Friday. They're leaving probably sometime late morning, early afternoon. And construction, I got a report that everything should be installed by July 31st. So that's about all I know with that.
Questions for Sandy?
Very good.
Thank you. Up next, State's Attorney's Office. Mr. Coughlin, in your package you have a copy of the grand jury report and the grand jury statistic report. Take a motion to combine and approve them. Mr. Carrico and Mr. Lowry.
Morning, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning, sir. Comments on the report?
No, I don't have any comments. If anybody's got any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions or comments on his report? We have a motion, a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you, sir.
Moving right along. Up next, Mr. Pennewick from the Public Defender's Office. In your package you have a copy of his report. Take a motion to approve that by Mr. Lowry, second by Ms. Andrade. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning. I also have nothing to report. If anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Any questions for Mr. Pennewick on the reports? We have a motion, a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Comments, sir?
No comments?
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Tom, you want to come up? Up next, Probation Department, Mr. Latham. In your package, you have a copy of his report.
The pressure's on, right?
Take a motion to approve his report by Mr. Marion, second by Ms. Earps. Comments on your report?
Nothing on the report.
Wow.
The only thing I have is I was hoping to have an update on that mental health court grant that we talked about a few months ago. we're supposed to know here very soon, so hopefully by next month I'll have that. The court itself is up and running, so hopefully for the August meeting we'll know about that grant. And that is it.
We have a motion and a second on his report. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
All right.
Thank you, sir. Up next is the sheriff. In your package, you have a copy of his monthly report. Take a motion to approve by Mr. Lowy, second by Mr. Eckhoff.
I'm gonna put an end to this efficiency, I can tell you right
Comments on your report? I know you'll have a few comments.
Yeah, just a couple things. First of all, Miss Monday, please pay attention to the road.
I've got it under control. Thank you.
Okay, just checking. So a couple things to point out that I think are important that we've talked about before is our population of our local inmates at the jail and where they're at. And if you look at June of 2023, we were at 213. In June of 24, we are at 223, and that's an average for the first 7 months of the year. And I mention that only because one of the things that we talked about prior to the Pretrial Fairness Act and the elimination of cash bail coming is that through the work of our state's attorney and our jail administration, we were keeping people in jail who should have been in jail. We didn't have an overabundance of people sitting there just because. So I think that's a credit to our jail administration who works with our state's attorney to let each other know, hey, you know, is this guy or this girl going to be in, going to receive any more time if they plead guilty than what they're already in? So, you know, I think that's, and we figured that prior, we kind of predicted that prior to the Pretrial Fairness Act back in September, but the numbers just kind of bear that out. So, and after 7 months, which through June we're 7 months through the fiscal year, we are $438,000 less in revenue than we were last year. And that's, I mean, the numbers themselves fluctuate so much. As I told you last year, 11.2 million was probably as high as we could get. So we didn't anticipate that increasing. Obviously, we don't want it to decrease much, but our estimates at this point seem to be that we will be between the 8.6 million that we generated in fiscal year 22 and the 11.2 million that was generated in fiscal year 23. One number that sticks out in the second section is the number of fatals that we've had through what amounts to 6 months of the year, and that's 13 on fatal accidents on state roadways. Well, I shouldn't say state roadways. The majority of those are on state roadways, but one is too many. So we will continue to work through that, and continue to keep our deputies in areas where we feel needs the most patrol from an accident standpoint. We monitor this information pretty much monthly, so we will continue to do that.
Notice on here again, I always look at how many you send to prison and how many's returned.
Yeah. You know, the goal of Springfield is to empty the prisons, and so they continue to let inmates out significantly, serving less time than what their original sentence was. As I've told this committee before, once a judge sentences an inmate to prison, that judge, if he sentences him to 20 years, there's some statutory requirements for some cases. However, the Illinois Department of Corrections has the final say in when they release somebody. And I think we've all witnessed the problems that they've had with the parole board and the things going on with them. And their philosophy is to continue to release people, some violent, some who shouldn't be out, some with mental health issues, that are back in our community with no resources. So it's certainly concerning.
Any other questions? Ms. Andrade?
When they get released on like parole or probation, can the judge like have them on mental health like forms to go and get treatment or whatever they were in anger management?
No, once they go into the Department of Corrections, and parole is who's responsible for them. So our local courts have no jurisdiction over them whatsoever unless they commit another crime, which happens a lot.
Or, yeah, because they're not getting treatment if they
Right. Yeah, and that's obviously that's an issue. And you know, the other thing is, with parole, I mean, fortunately, I guess I've been in this business long enough to see where we've been and where we're at now. And there, back in the day, as they say, which I promised myself I never use that term, but sometimes I have to.
Wait a few years.
Right? You know, a violation, if you committed a parole violation, parole would violate you automatically. You'd come back to jail and then go back to prison. Well, that doesn't happen anymore. We have to beg parole to violate somebody when they've been released from prison and they're on parole. So, and we do. I mean, we have a direct line with parole, and if there's somebody that they're not going to violate, then we're on the phone with them, explaining why they should be. So,
Mr. Long?
A good example of that might be our County West one-man crime wave. Would you care to talk about that?
Which one?
I think Palmer is his name.
Yes. That was, I think he's been to prison twice. He's about 21 or 22 years old. He's already been to DOC on 2 different occasions. He is a chronic car thief. Everybody knows when he gets released from prison because our car thefts start up again. And you know, he may get 3 or 4 years in prison, and he gets out in probably less than 2 years, and he's back at it again. And so yeah, he's one of numerous that I could name, but so yeah.
Ms. Andrade?
Sorry. But then that's where we go back to like the mental health. Like there has to be more to that. Keeps repeating the same crime. There, you know.
No, I believe, I hear you. But who's responsible for that? The state of Illinois.
Any other questions on the report? We have a motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Yesterday at the meeting, or after our meeting, Mr. Carrico and I and Mr. Seroyce were discussing River Patrol. Would you like to cover anything on that? It sounds like Mr. Carrico, who's on the Coast Guard.
Just for the record, I was going to be out of here fairly quickly. So yeah, most of you, I'm sure, saw first of all, the drowning that occurred a couple weeks ago, and the subsequent 2 articles that were in the paper for people, some aldermen, some other local government officials who were asked about River Patrol. I wasn't asked, by the way, but that's okay. A little bit of history on River Patrol. First of all, let me say, you know, 1 drowning on the river is too many. And with my comments today, I'm certainly not discounting the seriousness and the tragedy of any drowning. However, it's my job as sheriff to allocate my resources to where they can be most effective. A little bit of history on River Patrol. There were drownings when we had River Patrol, when the county who partnered with the city was on the river. So having River Patrol on the river is not going to prevent drownings. In 2014, following the layoffs of 17 deputies, River Patrol, along with Major Crimes Task Force, and a number of other things in our department were eliminated. Because as some of you on this board recall, some of you on this board who were working for the Sheriff's Office recall that dreadful time. Since 2011, and special thanks to Eric Cavender and the Coroner's Office for a lot of these records. But since 2011, there have been 24 drownings on the Kankakee River. No, that's an improper statement. There have been 24 drownings. 16 of those occurred on the river. One occurred in a ditch. One occurred in a bathtub. 11 occurred in a pond. 3 in a pool. And 1 out at Lake Shannon. And I believe there were 2 drownings that actually occurred at Hague Quarry that are not on our count because they were actually transferred up north where they died in a different county. So that's when you start counting numbers, it gets a little crazy. And I take it back, it makes it 11 in a pond, there were 2 in a pond. So 16 of those occurred in the river. 14 of those 24 drownings involved alcohol and drugs. As I mentioned earlier, there have been 13 fatal car accidents this year alone. In the last 10 years, Kankakee County has had 300 overdoses. The jurisdiction of the river actually belongs to the state of Illinois, the Department of Natural Resources. In fact, one of the criticisms of this last drowning was that there wasn't adequate dive teams and there wasn't adequate patrol out there, whatever the case may be, when in fact, DNR was actually at that scene in less than 5 minutes. So having a river patrol if the object is to prevent drownings, then I would suggest to you that River Patrol will not do that. If the object is to write tickets and patrol no wake zones, DNR does that. And they have done that this year. We are fortunate that we have 2 DNR officers locally who we work very well with and who do a great job on the river. River Patrol would not have made a difference in this last drowning, unfortunately. The river's a dangerous body of water, up and down the river. So DNR, not only, the 2 officers who are assigned to Kankakee are not only assigned to Kankakee, but they're assigned as far away as Kendall County. And they patrol the Des Plaines River, they patrol the Illinois River, and they patrol the Kankakee River. And their concentration is in the recreational boating areas. They don't really, the fishing areas on past the state park up by Wilmington and that, they don't really patrol up there because there's not recreational boats, or very few. According to DNR, they've written many, many warnings and citations this year while patrolling the Kankakee River. However, since this was laid in my lap, and I will lay this in your lap. Here's the potential cost for adding River Patrol. 4 deputies, a boat, 2 jet skis, vests, boat safety equipment and training. If you want to provide me with $634,000, I'll start River Patrol tomorrow. And each year after that, it'd be approximately $540,000. Personally, I could utilize those 4 deputies in other areas of our community, on the road, on the 680 square miles of roadway. But that's the cost if you want the sheriff's office to start River Patrol. I have no intention of taking deputies off the road or taking deputies out of investigations to pull them away from what they're doing now to go on the river. And I know some of the river people may not want to hear that, but the river is being patrolled.
Is Louis one of these DNR?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Louis Farber and Brian Elliott are the 2 DNR officers that are local. So that's my feeling on it. As I said, if...
Mr. Carrico?
Yes, sir.
Would you like to talk about what we talked yesterday with the Coast Guard?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Well, I was brought into the conversation because I had no idea what was going on until he asked me if I knew about it, about the patrol thing. And I said, no, I don't know anything. I didn't hear anything about it on the past. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually send some information to the sheriff about what we intended to do in Kankakee County. I think will be a little easier for me to do that way than trying to explain here today how is this going to happen. So that way you'll be more aware of what's happening with the new unit that was assigned to help with the Kankakee County, Watseka, and Wilmington.
Didn't work.
Hey, I'm all for free.
Thank you. Any questions? Ms. Andrade?
It's not a question, it's more...
Could you bring your mic a little closer?
It's not a question, it's more something that happened around the weekend of July 1st. Raul Gaitan and Junior, which was his son, Junior, there was 2 people drowning in the Kankakee River, and for what I had read about it, you know, through his family member, they hurry up, they didn't hesitate, they jumped in, they acted very well, saved 2 people. So I mean, it's just nice to know that when there's people out there on the boat or you see something, do something. That's how,
No doubt.
you know,
No doubt.
just knowing that there's a dad out there that hurry up and taught his son that it's okay to jump in to save somebody was pretty cool.
No question. In fact, as well as the DNR officer that arrived on scene within 5 minutes, there was a city police officer that literally went in shortly after that individual went under. He went in the water himself, risked his own life to go in. So yeah, there are obviously people will do that. You know, as I said, the river is a dangerous, dangerous waterway. Not only for the one, I mean, obviously, if someone's drowning, it's, you know, it's still dangerous for somebody to go in and try to save them as well. But the city officer did it. Credit to him. Credit to DNR for being there. So, yep.
Mr. Carrico.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I have to agree with the sheriff, and when it comes to the patrol part, that is not the answer. 100% the answer behind it. The Coast Guard has been involved primarily in putting a lot of emphasis on education. I think boating education is the key of this. You know, people need to be aware a little bit more about the proper equipment when it comes to boating, what to wear when they go to the river, and other components of being safe whenever they go into a body of water. So that is, education is the priority on that process. Thank you.
Jar your memory. Do you remember years ago when the city of Kankakee had a dive team, Ted Hemley sort of spearheaded that thing.
Yeah, I'm trying to answer that, Bones, without offending anybody. No, I don't remember that.
Yeah. Okay. You're not that old. Any other questions for the sheriff? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good week.
Is Carrie back there? Somebody from the animal control? There you are. Can't see behind the chair. Animal control, Ms. Laird, you have a copy of her monthly report. Take a motion to approve by Mr. Long, second by Ms. Turner. Good morning, Carrie.
Good morning. For the report, I really don't have anything besides number of animals is going up that we hold and the amount of money we intake is going down, which is average for shelters throughout the area nationwide. So,
any questions on the report?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Hunter.
Yeah, Carrie, I just want to applaud you and all those folks involved with the dedication of the animal control edifice. A lot of community people showed up, a lot of elected officials showed up. Senator Joyce, Jackie Haas, major players, and especially the 100,000 that Senator Joyce allocated. And I thought it was a really good program. Comments made by Sheriff and Andy and all of you guys who did a marvelous job. I think the public will really appreciate that edifice. And I just want to applaud your efforts in that regard.
well, thank you. And again, thank you to all of you that came out. If you guys didn't get a chance to come out to the ribbon cutting, please get a hold of me. I can do a tour for you guys. We are also going to hold a public tour sometime in August or September once we get everybody into this new building and get a routine. We're going to hold a public event at some point. So.
Get rid of any dogs?
We, yes, one got adopted yesterday. So, yeah.
I think the day of the open house, the sheriff said free.
Nobody took him up on that. However, Chairman Wheeler did adopt a dog as well from us. So he adopted a dog on that day, I believe. And then we had one leave yesterday and one hopefully leaving next week. So
good.
Hoping that we'll get some more out the door because every day we get new ones.
Any questions? We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, aye. Same sign. Motion carries. Thanks, Gary. Up next, Coroner's Office. Mr. Cavender, in the package you have a copy of the monthly reports and the monthly receipts and money. Take a motion to combine and approve them. Mr. Earps and Mr. Long. Good morning again.
Good morning. Morning again, yes. So just a few highlights will be quick too. For June, we had 94 calls, bringing our total as of June 30th to 766 calls for the year. Autopsies were crept back up a little bit, back to 12 for the month of June. I know the sheriff said there were 13 motor vehicle fatalities. We're actually reporting 21. And as the coroners told you in the past, the difference is somebody who's in an accident in a different county comes to one of our hospitals and dies here. That becomes our case, but maybe not the sheriff's department's case. I can think of 4 cases on Will Kankakee County line where the accident started on the Will County side, but the body ended up in the Kankakee County side. So those are our cases to investigate. So obviously we're encouraging everybody to obey the speed limit, wear a seatbelt, not drive distracted, or operate a motor vehicle under the influence of drugs or alcohol. 4 key things that will hopefully bring that number down in coming months. Only other thing that I was going to report on was the HIPS trailer, the Hidden in Plain Sight trailer. Some of you, I know Jessica, have been in it, Colton, Matt, at a couple of different events we've been out to. We've had really good reception thus far. I think our plan is to bring it to one of these meetings, so maybe after the meeting, those who haven't been in it can have a chance to go through it real quick with Mr. Schreiner from Pledge for Life. And we're hoping that that will continue to make an impact and lower the number of overdoses that we're seeing countywide. So that's all we have.
Questions or comments? We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Up next, Tyler Technology update by Jason. Got to give him a second. Good morning again, sir.
Good morning. I'll try to keep it short like everyone else. I'm happy to report that the Tyler project is going extremely well. We're currently in solution validation, which is a test go live practice run, basically. We want to make sure that everything that we've worked on, or all the teams have worked on so far, sorry, is going as smoothly as we expect it to be. We find little problems here and there, or we take care of those. So far, everything's been going really well on the solution validation. The Tyler team that's here, they're very happy with everyone that's working on it. They're actually rather impressed, as Sandy stated. Data push 4 was completed 2 weeks ago. As of for the enterprise supervision side for probation, currently they're going through data push 3, which is their final data push. They're in conversion week at the moment. Everything on that side is going very well. They have just started doing their mapping for the Lions side on how the systems will talk to each other. After solution validation, which runs for 6 weeks, then we'll go into end user training, which is where we bring everyone else into the training and getting to know how to use the software. Other than that, I don't have much to report at the moment, unless you have any questions.
Any questions? Way above me. So. Thank you.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Is there any old business to come before the committee? Any old business? Any new business to come before the committee? Any new business? Gotta give Jason time to get back here. Mr. Carrico. Mr. Long. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.